The looming threat, a new world war? The world watches with bated breath. Tensions between major powers escalate, military buildups accelerate. The specter of a new world war, once unthinkable, now casts a long shadow across the globe. The reasons are complex, a tangled web of geopolitical rivalries, economic competition, and ideological clashes. At the heart of this potential conflict lies the resurgence of great power competition. Nations, driven by a desire to secure their interests and assert their dominance, engage in a dangerous game of brinksmanship. Regional conflicts, fueled by these global tensions, threaten to spiral out of control. The international order, painstakingly constructed after the devastation of the 20th century, strains under the pressure. International institutions designed to foster cooperation and dialogue struggle to maintain relevance in this increasingly fractured world. The rules-based system, already under attack, teeters on the brink. As the world stands at this precarious precipice, the possibility of miscalculation or accident looms large. A single spark, whether intentional or unintentional, could ignite a conflagration with unimaginable consequences for humanity. The future, once bright with promise, now appears fraught with peril. In this maelstrom of global uncertainty, Sri Lanka finds itself caught in the crosscurrents. A small island nation, strategically located in the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka faces a future fraught with challenges and opportunities. Its fate, inextricably linked to the actions of larger powers, hangs precariously in the balance. The potential outbreak of a global conflict would have profound implications for Sri Lanka. Its economy, heavily reliant on trade and tourism, would suffer a devastating blow. Supply chains, already disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, would collapse entirely. The cost of essential goods, including food and fuel, would skyrocket, exacerbating existing economic hardships. Beyond the economic realm, the social fabric of Sri Lankan society would be put to the test. Ethnic tensions, long simmering beneath the surface, could resurface with renewed vigor. The influx of refugees fleeing conflict zones in other parts of the world would strain resources and exacerbate social divisions. The security environment surrounding Sri Lanka would deteriorate rapidly. The Indian Ocean, once a conduit for trade and commerce, would transform into a theater of military operations. Sri Lanka, caught between competing powers, would face intense pressure to choose sides, jeopardizing its long-standing policy of non-alignment. The outbreak of World War III would send shockwaves through the global economy, and Sri Lanka would be far from immune. The island nation, heavily reliant on international trade and tourism, would face a perfect storm of economic challenges. The Sri Lankan rupee, already weakened by pre-existing economic woes, would plummet in value against the US dollar. The cost of essential goods, including food and fuel, would skyrocket as global supply chains crumble. Sri Lanka, heavily dependent on imports for its energy needs, would face crippling fuel shortages. The agricultural sector, already struggling with the impacts of climate change, would be further devastated by disruptions to fertilizer and other essential inputs. The tourism industry, once a pillar of the Sri Lankan economy, would evaporate overnight. International travel would grind to a halt, and the once bustling beaches and cultural sites would stand deserted. The loss of tourism revenue would deprive Sri Lanka of a vital source of foreign exchange, further exacerbating the economic crisis. The IMF, grappling with the global economic meltdown, would be in no position to offer Sri Lanka a lifeline. The international community, preoccupied with its own internal struggles, would be unable or unwilling to provide meaningful assistance. Sri Lanka, facing an unprecedented economic catastrophe, would be left to fend for itself. As the economic situation in Sri Lanka deteriorates, social tensions, long simmering beneath the surface, would erupt with renewed fury. Ethnic divisions, a persistent source of conflict in Sri Lanka's history, could resurface with a vengeance. The competition for scarce resources, including food, water, and fuel, would exacerbate existing tensions and could lead to outbreaks of communal violence. The influx of refugees from neighboring conflict zones would place an additional strain on Sri Lanka's already limited resources. The government, grappling with the overwhelming challenges of a wartime economy, would struggle to provide for the basic needs of its own citizens, let alone a sudden influx of displaced persons. Social trust, already eroded by years of economic hardship and political instability, would further deteriorate. Rumors and misinformation, spread through social media and word of mouth, would sow fear and distrust among the population. The government, struggling to maintain order, could resort to increasingly authoritarian measures to quell dissent and maintain control. The education system, already weakened by years of underfunding, would collapse entirely as resources are diverted to more pressing needs. Sri Lankan youth, deprived of educational opportunities and facing a bleak future, would be particularly vulnerable to recruitment by extremist groups, both domestic and foreign.